Hello guys, TKG is here for your comfortable LostArk life. In this video, I'd like to cover one of his classes, Deathblade, as the video in my channel has some old introduction and editing, so I really want to remake it just like the recent cover videos. And of course add some more categories and explanation for more clear build for your LostArk journey. Now follow me, I'll show you what you need. Before going into the main part, one thing you need to know is that this video is made on and based on KL server. So that means some of the preference and the build can be a little bit different with the global, as the recent patches changed some of the mechanism and the identity circulations of the Deathblade. So some of the build can be a little bit, cannot be familiar than the common build of the Deathblade or the global right now, as the balance patches brought Deathblade a big modification. So what I want to say is that some of the skill build or composition can be a little bit more experimental. In other words, it can't be changed in the future. So I will show you the most representative and maybe common build on right now on KL. So watch this video with those considerations and use this video as your reference to your LostArk journey. Let's start with the most basic of this video. Class engraving I'm going to cover in this video is remaining energy. As you guys might already and roughly know about the remaining energy class engraving, remaining energy is a class engraving that rely on our identity and our identity buff. Personally, I think the key and the backbone of the remaining energy is a buff that granted after the use of the arts. But of course, surge itself is a key damage of the DPS proportion too. After the balance patches of the Deathblade in October 18th, remaining energy got some little modification on our skill movement. Like before that, you need to turn on the surge and you have to use it again to fire the surge. But after that, for the remaining energy, just using it will fire the surge immediately. And some of the charging skill or casting skill got changed to normal skills, so back attack difficulty got a little softened too. Not to mention that, well, in KR expression, Chokusei, shackle of the remaining energy, supercharged engraving cannot be used on the actual gameplay. Well, let's talk about those details later on this video. As the Deathblade is quite old classes, it is almost more than 4 years since the release, some of the stat engraving build was quite fixed to use. But one good news or not, for the remaining energy, now we have one more option to choose from. Currently, remaining energy has 2 builds, in KR expression, charging blade and Deathblade blade, which quite new. As you guys might be familiar with the charging or casting Deathblade, so I'll skip those builds for the later video and I'll show you the recent and new build of the blade, which means Deathblade, immediate fire blade, will be covered in this video. But unlike the new and fresh skill build of the blade, remaining energy has quite fixed combat stat build right now. Mechanism was quite upgraded but not changed the whole circulation or the identity supply efficiency, as the specialization efficiency is quite exceptional than any other combat stat build, so specialization stat is quite fixed and maybe the most common build of remaining energy. And of course, as the Deathblade is another back attack classes, so entropy is fixed to use. If you wish to use the hallucination or the other gear set, well, I'll say try to do the other classes. Specialization will increase the surge, identity, art supply rate and efficiency, awakening damage, and most of all, it will decrease the skill cooldown more, which means it will make you bounce back faster if you have a high level of specializations. So conclusion, more the better. And her engraving build can be like this. As the Deathblade or immediate fire remaining energy doesn't need the shackle called supercharged engraving, so instead she used the raid captain as alternative for faster gameplay. Comparing to the supercharged remaining energy, immediate fire remaining energy has some more higher ceiling. It is slightly higher, but unfortunately, compared to the supercharged, immediate fire remaining energy has a little harder to bounce back, which means it has a slightly lower capability on supplying the identity. I gotta be honest, if you miss some skills, you really have some hard time for bounce back to track again. Also, you can replace the crystal to Kimblom weapon but actually it is not that recommended to use, because it requires higher critical rate for better damage. So naturally, you need level 3 adrenals and critical synergy for the full performance. In KI expression, as the charge shackles are gone, the identity cycle or circulation are quite optimized, well, with more comfort on controls and speed. About 6 seconds of identity, skill cycle with some speedy control, it might give you a great and comfortable experience during the gameplay. And most of all, as I mentioned, no more charging or casting stress. This is really great for remaining energy blade. So, more like your blade potentials can be more better than the previous version of remaining energy. Like you're supposed to wait for the fully charged skill, right? And personally, I think that speedy controls do really help for the reaction to the gimmicks. But as I mentioned in the stat and engraving build section, managing the identity circulation or the cycle can be a little bit tough for the players that aren't that used to the close combat. And I gotta be honest, you should make sure to every skills being a good effect on target with very close distance. Otherwise, you can miss some of your identity cycle. I'm serious. Also, especially on the remaining energy blade has quite even DPS proportions on our skills, so in order to show or see the full performance, you need some high level of annihilation gem on your DPS skills. And one more thing, you need well-fruit for smooth identity cycle and supply. As you might expect, remaining energy Deathblade are quite necessary to fulfill the certain level of specialization stat for better and smooth identity cycle during the gameplay. In my personal experience, 1770 or higher is quite recommended to use for smooth identity cycle. Even with these requirements, it might be a little tight identity cycle. Core mechanic of the immediate fire remaining energy is actually not much different with the supercharged remaining energy. The real core of the remaining energy are filling up the identity bubbles during the short maelstrom uptime. More like you have to throw everything during the maelstrom uptime for 3 bubbles. Especially Void Strike and the Soul Absorber must be effective hit for the smooth supply. And I gotta be honest, immediate fire remaining energy is quite hard to bounce back if you miss some of the skills you have. So most importantly, you need to stay really close for effective hit and identity supply. If don't, you really have to through the tunnel of endurance very much. Immediate fire remaining energy skill composition can be summarized like this. Actually, there is not many things to comment on a skill composition, as the remaining energy has a quite even DPS proportion on all skills, so actually every skill is quite important and precious on actual gameplay. And one empty skill can be chosen from the Twin Shadow and Turning Slash. Both are quite preference. Turning Slash has a slightly higher DPS performance but slight lower identity supply rate and has an immune on skills. Twin Shadows has a little better on supplying the identity but has a lower DPS performance than the Turning Slash. But one advantage of the Twin Shadow is that it's a stacking skill, so you can have one more chance as an insurance for missing your skills. But of course, the choice is yours. Choose the best option that fits to your control. Skill build can be summarized like this. I'll show you the build and leveling tripod gem setting on this text box and show you the priority on the priority section. Gem priority can be summarized like this. As I keep mentioning, remaining energy Deathblade has a quite even DPS proportion on our performance. So personally, upgrading all skills Annihilation Gem will naturally lead to DPS increases. But of course, if you cannot afford all of the high level of Annihilation Gem, I suggest you to upgrade your Soul Absorber, Surge, and then upgrade the other Annihilation Gem. Crimson Gem are actually quite necessary on upgrading to high level. High level gem means more than level 9 gem. Other things are quite okay to upgrade slowly, but for the smooth and better, if you wish to see the noticeable smooth skill circulations, you need the high level of Maelstrom Gem for your Deathblade. Awakening skill is a flash blink. Actually, the awakening skill of the Deathblade is quite preference. But personally, or in Korean expression, to compress the damage and identity cycle, flash blink is quite recommend to use. As the balance patches got patched up, slightly patched up the damage performance of the Deathblade, right now I think the damage itself is quite the biggest advantage of the Deathblade. Of course it has some risk, like you have to stick very close to the target, missing skill leads to DPS leak, and need to get used to it before you can see the full performance. But after that, you might feel or meet the satisfying MVP screen on the raid. Skill combo of the immediate fire Deathblade is really a reference. Skill combo is not just memorizing it, but to understand the cycle and utilize a skill with more flexibility on many different situations. But as I keep mentioned, you need to pour everything during the Maelstrom uptime, especially Soul Absorber, Void Strike is quite necessary to make an effective hit for smooth skill and identity cycle. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching everyone, and always, thanks for your big support. Hope this video was a little help for your LostArk journey. Hope you do well with your Deathblade with this video. And of course, if you liked my videos, hit the sub for more upcoming infos. I'll come back with more useful infos in the next video.